Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review American Animals, which is a new heist film that is a true story. And something very interesting that Bart Layton does, who's the director and the writer of this film, is it's telling the story, dramatized with actors, but intercuts actual interviews with the real people who did this heist and other people involved. And it adds a very unique, interesting dynamic to a heist film, which heist films are decades and decades old genre, and this is something that it does something different. And that's always a great thing in genre films, is when a film takes the effort to do something different with it. It's very tense and clever. This film sets up a lot of sequences where it's like these young men are very pop culture savvy. There's one particular sequence that it's like a spoof of the Ocean's films where it's like, this is how it should go. Like, as it's explained by one of the characters, there's references to other heist films like Reservoir Dogs and stuff like that. And it's very clever with that pop culture stuff, but it does not take away from the fact that this film, when it really comes down to it, is really tense, it's really gritty, it's very messy, and it's very real. And I feel like that's the driving factor of why this film is so powerful. And the two main characters, played by Evan Peters and Barry Keoghan, I'm not sure if I pronounced your last name right, sorry. And both of them are fleshed out, very interesting. You see how this situation's affecting them. And the best thing about heist films is when you understand the motivations of those involved. And these two characters, you really know why they're doing this and what's driving them. And it deals with like deep themes of what's life supposed to be. Is it supposed to be just going to college like everybody else, getting a degree, getting a job, getting married, hopefully you being happy, and sometimes it not working out, and then you become miserable? Or are we supposed to be taking life by the horns and doing something extraordinary? And that's the big driving force of this film, and I feel like this film really captures that. And overall, I feel like you understand why these characters are invested in this heist. You understand why they're involved. And honestly, you get a lot of that from these intercuts of the actual people adding perspective, which I think is very unique and interesting how they did that. And I feel like this is interesting. Instead of being like a documentary that shows some dramatizations, this is a film that does the reversal and shows some reality. And I think that's a unique perspective, because I feel like that would be two very different films if this was more just a documentary with dramatizations of some of the sequences. No, this is something that is a film and adds in layers of what actually happened. And I feel like they do some great build up to the heist, and that's always important in this kind of film, is that you really want to feel invested and understand and really get what's going on. And it's a unique turn on heist films. It's like the rest of the cast as well, like Blake Jenner and Jared Abrahamson do really good jobs in their roles. There's some tense moments. There's one particular tense moment for Blake Jenner that's like, holy crap. And you really felt like the emotion really, and the tension and the suspense. And Ann Dowd does a great job as the librarian that they're trying to steal from. And she really sells her role well. And she becomes a very impactful figure in this film that really shakes the ground under the feet of our characters that are trying to do this heist and not realizing the true stakes going on. And in terms of technical aspects, the score by Anne McKinton is very tense and very powerful, atmospheric, and really helps build up some very, very tense sequences, especially the heist scene. And this is really well shot by old Brad Birkland, and the DP does a great job of shooting this film and giving it a interesting look to it, and also using like the way that the shots are put together in particular sequences really build a tension, especially reversing shots of like two characters staring at each other and the building tension or mystery or suspense or what's going on in the heads of those characters and what it's really building up to. Now, I feel the ending's a little clunky where it really delves into really talky about like that's when it really incorporates the real characters and gets a bit like talky at the end and explaining everything, and it's just like, did that fully work for me? And there are some moments where the real moments can slip in and cut like the actual tension and build of the actual film going on. But overall, I think they were useful and it was a unique way of looking at it, but it didn't 100% work. The start was a bit slow for me. It took a little bit to get this film going. And some of the characters I feel like are not as fleshed out. You do get a basic sense of why they're doing this for the most part, but they're not as interesting or fleshed out characters as our two main characters. I think this is a very interesting film, and this is really going under the radar, I feel like. And if you notice that this film's in your area and you want an exhilarating ride of a film that's unique and a cool experience, I would say go check this out. And this is something that these young actors are really building names for themselves. And I feel like this is a film worth checking out in a theater. The tension will really bring it up. And if you don't get a chance to find this out there, I saw this in Princeton Garden Theater, really do check it out once it goes on streaming. I'm assuming this film will find its way to streaming pretty easily, but go check this out if you can. If this is in the area, I really recommend you go check out American Animals.